Good afternoon, boys and girls. Good afternoon, parents and the school administrations. In today's lessons, we'll be talking about the draw. The draw means a tie. So when you go to the chess tournaments, white can win the game, black can win the game, or game can end up in draw. So that means you get only half of the point. Because if you win, you get 1 point. If you lose, you get zero. And if you make a draw, you get only half of the point. Now, there are different ways to get a draw. Let's say you want to go to the chess tournament and you cannot come for the first game. You can call the organizers and say, I request a bye. And organizers are going to give you for that first round a bye. That means you are going to get a draw. You are not going to lose the game. What is very useful? I think this rule happens only in United States chess tournaments, probably not in Europe and not in Asia. Now, what is the other way to get a draw? You could play a game and you can agree with another child for a draw. How do you do that? If you want to offer a draw, first you have to play a move, press the clock, write down your move, and say, I offer a draw. The other child can accept the draw, or if the other child plays a move, that means the draw is declined. So that's the second way to get a draw. Now, let's see the draw on the chessboard. Look, if you look at this position, there is nothing that we can do here with white side or a black side. This is called in chess insufficient material to checkmate. That means both sides don't have enough pieces to checkmate the other side. So this is a draw, right? You don't play a game like this. Simply agree for a draw. Now, there are many different situations where you don't continue playing and you just agree for a draw. For instance, if white has a knight here next to the king, you would still agree for a draw, right? Because white cannot win with a king and a knight. Or let's say black has a bishop next to the king, you agree for a draw because bishop and the king cannot win against the king. Let's say white has king and two knights against the black king. You agree for a draw because king and the two knights cannot win the game against the black king. So this is what we call an insufficient material. Now, let's see what are the other ways to make a draw. Stalemate. Stalemate is also a draw. I am going to show you the stalemate on the chessboard. And perpetual check is a draw. Now, perpetual check means that you repeat the same position 3 times, right? Could be like check, 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 and that would lead into a draw. That means you cannot escape that check position. It can be also the 3 times repeated same position that gives us a draw, right? Let's say in a complicated game, both sides just decides to repeat the position 3 times, and that would be also a draw. Now, there is something that is called 50 move rule. Let's say you have king and and a queen right next to your king, and you are supposed to win against this black king. If you don't win in 50 moves, then the game is a draw. So that's another rule, right? And that rule applies to many other positions, right? Let's say you have a king and a rook against king, or king and a two bishops against king. If you don't win in 50 moves, that means it's like you really don't know how to finish the game. So then it would be a draw, right? So let's see now just a couple of examples here. Like, for instance, this is the one I talked about. King and a bishop against the king cannot win the game, right? Now I want you to pay attention to the right side where my mouse is. King versus king is a draw. King and a bishop versus king is a draw. King and a knight versus king is a draw. And king and the two knights versus king is also a draw, right? Now, king and a pawn against the king is not considered to be a draw because the pawn can become a queen. Let's see here a diagram number 1. So what do we have here? Look, black is attacking the king. It's check. Now it's clear that black is stronger. Black has queen and white has only a knight. Queen can win against the knight, but it is white to move. So if white takes the queen, then this game is considered to be a draw because none of the sides can win. Let's go to the next example. You are white and you have a choice to take the rook, to take the bishop, or avoid trading, maybe play a rook to d7 check. What do you think that's correct move? The correct move would be to take the rook, because if we play rook to d7 check, then we are giving a black a chance to win this game. Of course, if we take the bishop, then the black rook is going to take us, and king and the rook can win against the king. But if we take the rook, then the black doesn't have enough power to win this game. This is called in chess an insufficient material. Bishop is not strong enough to help black king to win the game. This is a draw. Let's see the next one. What do we have here? It's clear that black is better. Black has an extra knight. But if we trade the queen, then the game is going to be a draw because black ended up with a king and a knight against the king, and the knight is not strong enough to help the black king finish the game. So this is called in chess a draw, right? Now let's see what is a stalemate. We studied a stalemate before. Stalemate means that king and all other chess pieces cannot move, but the king is not in check. So pay attention here. The black king is in stalemate. Right? Now look, black king cannot move because the white bishop and the white king. Now if you pay attention to the black pawns here, they also cannot move, right? Because they move this way, right? They cannot move. But also the knight cannot move. So if it's black to move, this would be a stalemate. And stalemate is a draw. You would get half point. Black gets half point, white gets half point. But let's do it one more time. Stalemate is a draw, but draw is not a stalemate. That's what a lot of kids uh, do in a chess tournament. Like they end up the game in a draw, and when you ask them, how did you play? They said, I had a stalemate. No, you did not have a stalemate. You had a draw. Because you see from this lesson that there are many different kinds of draw that can happen on the chessboard. Stalemate is just one of them. Okay, let's go now and see the perpetual check. I don't have an example here, so what we are going to do is we're going to create that perpetual check on the chessboard. Let's delete all the pieces. And let's put like the king here on b1. We can maybe put a pawn on c2, queen. And now we can take, let's say, the queen on d5. We can put the king on g8, say pawn, and pawn here. All right. Now, let's continue from here, and we'll play with the computer. Right. In this case, we just need white pieces. Doesn't really matter if you play on level 1 or level 8 because black will be forced to play the same moves. So we need to take a white. Now, pay attention to this position. Black is about to checkmate the white king, and a white king cannot escape, right? But we can save the game by playing perpetual check. And this is how perpetual check looks like. We play a check here. We could play also on g5 or d8. And black has only one move. That's king to g7. Now we come back and play a check again. And then we play a check again. We repeat the same position. And the black king cannot escape. All right, let's repeat again. And now you see, look what's written here on the right side. The computer is saying threefold repetition, I can claim a draw. So I can simply click here and claim a draw, and game ended up in a draw because the black doesn't have a choice. Now, in this case, this is called perpetual check, right? Now, let's set up the position where we have 3 times repeated position. We can do any position. Look, we'll just delete everything from the chessboard, and let's put something like this. And I notice this is what kids are doing sometimes on the chess tournaments. Let's continue from here with the computer. Let's see if will be white. Now look, it's clear white is supposed to win the game, right? But this is what children are doing sometimes. Let's see if the computer is gonna play the same moves. We play a check, computer will run away, and then we play a check again. Let's say the computer, okay, computer doesn't want to go the same way, right? Let's see now. Okay, and if we repeat, like 3 times those checks, right? That would be a big mistake. Computer is not following the. Okay, look now. We repeated the same position 3 times, and the computer was saying the game, the game would be a draw, that I could claim a draw. So basically, if the same position, look at here, the game is a draw, right? I can claim a draw, and the game is now a draw, right? Why? It is because we repeated the same position 3 times. And that's what you don't want to play in these kind of games, right? Where you are queen up. You want to win this game. You don't want to play check, 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 check and repeat the same position because it will be a draw. So those are the several ways to make a draw. So let's see. On the chessboard, you see here, you can repeat 3 times the same position. You can play perpetual check. You can have stalemate on the chessboard, and you can have insufficient material to win the game. And then outside of the chessboard, you can simply agree for a draw. You can play a couple of moves and agree for a draw if you want, right? Before you offer a draw, you have to play a move, press the clock, and then you offer a draw, right? You can do that. You also can have a draw by requesting a buy. If you cannot come for one of the rounds on the chess tournaments, you can call the organizers and say, look, I'm sorry, my child has to play the soccer game, and I would like to request a draw. I'm sorry, a buy. So your child gets a draw instead of losing a game. Buy is something that you need to study on United States Chess Federation website or in a Wikipedia. You can find it because there are different kind of buys as well. So, boys and girls, that's about the draw. So the draw is a tie, right? And there are different ways to do that. Okay. I hope you enjoyed the lesson, and we'll see each other in the next lesson. Bye bye.